Donk Nation, Jackson, Janet's greetings and welcome to your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk. Not alone this week. We got Gingy. Laskers is on his way to Hawaii. So, Gingy, we got to pick up the slack here because apparently Laskers is in full off-season mode still, hitting up the vacations. Good start to the season, Gingy. Week 1, a.k.a. the real preseason that matters, happens. Steelers pull off a win against the Jets. It wasn't the prettiest. It wasn't the ugliest. But winning the fake games that matter, Gingy. As you can see, I left Gingy absolutely stunted there. No response.
Mutant Gingy in the house having some connection issues. That's because lightning is in the air. Donkey, holy smokes. Week 1 was a back and forth battle. I don't know if I can take that for a whole season. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers can handle that punishment for a whole season, but holy smokes, he showed out.
There's plenty of bad to get to, but there is plenty of good to get to. I'd like to say this week was a week in which Aaron Rodgers puts the Steelers in the position to win, and the special teams deliver the victory, right? Huge turnover on a kick caused by Kenneth Gainwell, recovered by Ben Skowronek. Aaron Rodgers throwing for 4 touchdowns. Those are the things the Steelers need to get going. Those are what you need to have happen if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those two things could be the things that deliver this season into something special. Seeing them early, maybe we get to see them often. But Gingy, an offense that puts up 30-plus points with 4 passing touchdowns. Let's stay on the positive to start. Let's hype up the start of this Steelers season.
Yeah, holy smokes. Haven't seen that in Pittsburgh for a while. You know what, though? Got a little bit lucky. I think on that clean stat line, there were a couple passes there that I think that were given away a little bit by the Jets secondary. But executed. Donkey got the job done in the passing game. Still not seeing what I want to on the ground, though, and really, Aaron Rodgers on the ground way too much himself.
We talked about this ad nauseum all offseason, Gingy. That offensive line is just, and I said this before, they're too small to be a physical offensive line, and they're not athletic enough to be a good pass blocking offensive line. And it's really killing them that they went all in on, let's be honest here, all in on a bunch of unproven guys without competition. Look, dude, Cook is a borderline, barely rosterable player. He was the top competition to be the starting tackle. Good competition breeds good starters. I mean, you could have got a guy like Laramie Tunsil who got traded in the offseason. The Steelers decide we're going to go all in with Broderick Jones, who couldn't handle being a right tackle, as going to be a good left tackle. I know Aaron Rodgers stood behind him, but that's what you have to do when you're a leader, and I like to see that. I liked Aaron stepping up and supporting the offensive line even after their bad showing, right? But, man, we talked about this ad nauseum. This cannot be the thing that let this team go down because they refuse to, let's be honest, they refuse to address the trenches with starter-level people on both the offensive and defensive side, and it showed dramatically in the Jets game.
Yeah, Donkey, really, Broderick Jones. Yeah, you definitely called it out. I still think that we're getting good right side of the line.
It was okay play by McCormick and Fontanu, but you have to realize, like, I watched that game back to all 22. It was only okay play because, man, Broderick Jones gave up pressure so quick you couldn't even see anything. And if Broderick Jones wasn't giving the pressure up, Zach Frazier was getting absolutely blown up in the middle by Quinn Williams, which is why we weren't able to run the ball, as Williams was just dominating all day, whether he was matched up on the double team from Frazier and McCormick had that a lot, and he was winning against both of them at the same time, or whether he was out there going one-on-one against Simualu. Man, I know Broderick Jones is going to get the brunt of the hate because he gave up the 3 sacks, but man, Quentin Williams in the middle, and I know Quentin Williams is an all-pro guy, but he cannot be that disruptive when getting double teamed like he was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. If you're double teaming a guy, you have to win, and the Steelers just weren't winning with double teams on him.
I hear it, Donkey. I hear it. You're spot on. But there's a lot of things that I like to see too. Guys coming in from the outside already gelling and blending with the offense. Really like to see the explosiveness of DK Metcalf. Really bring something different, I think, with yards after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, he's dangerous.
He was. He definitely broke a couple out there. Let's be honest. The Jets secondary is bad. You take out Sauce Gardner, dude, and I talked about in the other thing. I'm like, there's a lot of fringe players here. There's a lot of guys who are coming off. Last week is what I talked about. There's a lot of guys who had maybe a good year like 2 years ago, like Cisco had a good year 2 years ago in Jacksonville, but was really bad last year. And the badness showed up for them. They looked like a really ungelled, unready unit. And that's the part of the team you could definitely take in front of or advantage of. The Jets are definitely weak on their secondary when you take away Sauce Gardner as the only real standout there. And, you know, DK did his thing. Calvin Austin did his thing. I would like to see a little more vertical to the pass game instead of all this check down stuff, because when you play a better team, that's what the scary part is. We're gonna have to be able to attack vertically at some point. Like I said, week 1, I'm not going to judge too hard. I saw things I liked. That's what I really want to focus on. And the bad things I want to focus on are things we talked about before. Like Broderick Jones still looking bad. That's an area of concern. Zach Frazier not being able to win the area of attack against bigger linemen, that's an area of concern, right? Because these are things we've seen for over a year, and they showed themselves in week 1. Am I going to be overly mad about the vertical passing game? No. Am I going to say the running game is dead in the water because of 1 week? No, but it definitely right now is trending the wrong direction, right? Let's talk about the run game. The offensive line couldn't get any push. These running backs are not shifty enough to make people miss on a constant basis in the backfield, whether you're a big fan of Jaylen Warren and think he's going to break out, or you're a fan of Gainwell, who's, you know, I like to call him an RB3 at best, but had a huge special team impact, so not going to hate on him. And really, we didn't see Johnson at all in the football game. He's probably would have been the best back for the way we were running the ball. But, man, you look at the preseason games, you look at week 1, and this is the concern. In the preseason against backups, our offensive line didn't generate push. You're like, okay, that's just the preseason. Who cares? We're now in week 1. No push again from this offensive line in the running game. Gingy. Between them not being able to pass block and not being able to generate run blocking, the offensive line might be the area of concern that is most pressing right now, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, Donkey. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, those are the areas that aren't producing when you look at the offense.
No, not at all. I mean, the wide receivers did their thing. No snaps for Roman Wilson, but who cares? Ben Skronik caught a touchdown of all people. You see Calvin Austin out there making plays. Maybe a little bit more involvement from the tight ends. I mean, I don't like seeing Jonnu Smith catch like 6 balls for 3 yards a catch. That's not what I want to see. But that's what the offense had to have, because there's just no ability of time or that. And let's be honest here. And maybe your view's a little different. Do you think the Jets are going to be a good football team this year?
Jets are going to be an average football team this year.
At best is the way I view it. So this was a performance where I wanted to see more from the offensive line, maybe the whole offense as a whole. I wanted to see more of. I wanted to see the ability to vertical pass, but we didn't have the time for that. Hit some good crossing routes, which is something we haven't seen in a while. But I mean, what the running games? The running games. What Jaylen Warren 3 yards a carry, Kenneth Gainwell 2.5 yards a carry. And then when you add in the receiving stats, I mean, we'll had 2 for 22. That's good. But pretty much all of that was one. His touchdown catch was the long one, right? Or was that the short one? I don't remember. But I think that was the long one. And Gainwell has 3 catches for essentially nothing. There are some areas of concern, but like I said, week 1, we'll let some stuff go. What I want to focus on is Do you think Aaron Rodgers can continue to carry this team solely on his back if he's going to get sacked 4 times and pressured 70% of his snaps? Can we still hope to see let's call it what it was, a vintage Aaron Rodgers, not just in a singular performance against a former team, but as a season? Do you think vintage Aaron Rodgers can carry the Steelers if this line doesn't improve?
Absolutely not, Donkey. He's never going to, I mean, he's going to have a clean sheet now and then, but it's never going to be, not often, 4-0. I'd love to see it.
They do 4-0. That was a great scene.
He's got to play flawless. Everybody had to play flawless for that game to happen because of the weaknesses that you just spoke about, Donkey. Not sustainable.
Still, 34 points from Aaron Rodgers coming in. That's what you want to see. That's the excitement you want to see. Obviously, areas to improve. Let's move on to the other good area for the Steelers. Let's move on to special teams here. Corliss Waitman wins out the punting job, has a good day punting the ball. Chris Boswell hits a 60-yard game-winning field goal. You know, Boswell doing Boswell type of stuff. But maybe the most impactful play was on a kickoff. Gainwell causing the fumble, recovered by Skowronek, absolutely when the Jets were moving the ball at will. Gives the Steelers that chance to put the little cushion on there, right? Get themselves back into where they're the ones controlling the tempo of the game. Maybe the play of the game was that one right there, right then. To me, it certainly was. But Gingy, special teams have to get a plus rating here in terms of just ability to make plays that mattered in winning football.
Absolutely. Game changing. Donkey. A++. Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt. Anything you want to add there before we get to the defense, which, boy, do I have some words about that one?
No. You pretty much covered it there. Big plays, big splash plays, Donkey. You know how I feel about that. Absolutely. 14-point swing changed the whole momentum of the entire game. I do believe the Jets, I can't remember that guy's name off the top of my head. That dude who fumbled that ball got cut.
He did. They certainly cut him. Double last name guy. Yeah, that was that.
Very unfortunate.
That's a killer because that was. When did that happen? That happened
Wednesday.
The thing, it happened right at the start of the fourth quarter, right? It was right after a Steelers touchdown, and then we scored another one right after it, is the way it happened, if I recall correctly.
Between the third and fourth quarter, I believe, yeah.
No, we scored a touchdown. Okay, I got it up now. We scored a touchdown to start the fourth quarter. Kickoff, they fumble. We score another touchdown, take the lead. That's essentially what happened. His name was Xavier Gipson. He fumbles, and Ben Skowronek recovered it. I mean, play of the game right there. Just changes the way that game goes, changes the whole outcome of the game. As the Jets go again and score a touchdown, the drive right after that, and then the Steelers punt, Jets punt, we kick the field goal that ends up being the game winner. So the way the game was played through that whole fourth quarter was epitomized by Aaron Rodgers scoring points and special teams making the play that mattered. Just absolutely what you want to see. Now, what you don't want to see is Justin Fields coming off an injury, not playing much in the preseason, going against the highest paid defense in the land and putting up 32 points, Gingy. This is a Justin Fields you saw here enough in Pittsburgh, or at least I saw here enough in Pittsburgh. Do you really think he's a 30-point a game with that Jets offense type of guy? Like, he's better than Aaron Rodgers is essentially what we're going to say here? Is that the case, or should I maybe have a little bit concerns that this defense still can't stop the run and still struggles containing speedy, athletic outside receivers?
It doesn't look like it can stop the run. Doesn't look like it can contain receivers.
I mean, Joey Porter Jr. got hurt last week. He's going to miss this week's game. Jalen Ramsey looks like the real deal, but I mean, our safeties are leading the team in tackles again because for some reason our middle linebackers don't want to show up, and our front three defensive linemen cannot seem to get going in the right direction. I don't know that I counted 4 plays, Gingy, where I saw Isaiah Loudermilk 12 yards down the field getting pushed the wrong direction by an offensive lineman 4 different times. I'm not here to say Isaiah Loudermilk shouldn't be on this team. I've said that for 4 years. But my God, if he's on this team, he cannot be on the field. I don't know what to say about this. I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to give them a chance. This is 1 week. Isaiah Loudermilk, you're getting called out because it's 4 years of this garbage. But in this 1 week, Gingy, we've seen everything that made us nervous when we talked in the offseason. The lack of quality depth on the defensive line. I'm not going to say depth because we have a bunch of guys who are NFL backups on this team. There's a difference between being an NFL backup and a starter level player, though. The Steelers are full of backups, not starter level players. That was the problem on the line, and it looked that way against the Jets. And Gingy, the Jets were without their 2 best offensive linemen. Are you freaking kidding me that a bunch of backups came in and dominated the highest paid defense like they did? Are you kidding me?
I saw some awesome play from TJ Watt. I saw some physical play from Jalen Ramsey.
Gingy, I'm going to say this. You know what I saw from TJ Watt? A 0. Okay? I saw a 0. He led to 0 turnovers and plays where he caused pressure, and he led to 0 sacks. That's a 0. I saw Alex Highsmith get a pressure. I saw Jalen Ramsey make a hell of a play. He's the one addition I'm not going to hate on. I thought he played a really good game and had one of the, probably to me, the second most important play, stopping that 4th down that was going to be converted with a big hit. So, going to give the credit there. That was a hell of a play and well done by Jalen Ramsey. But when I look at this defense, Gingy, what I see is TJ Watt is a part of a front 7 that generated 1 sack against Justin Fields. One sack. Did not lead to any turnovers, which Justin Fields is known to be a turnover machine. No turnovers. So they didn't help generate turnovers. They generated only 1 negative play on the pass rush, and that was the sack. Only negative play they generated. And this is what I see. I see Breece Hall getting 19 carries for 100 yards. I see Justin Fields carrying the ball 12 times for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. I see Allen being the guy who struggled carrying the ball. He had 6 carries for only 9 yards, but he scores a touchdown. I see Isaiah Davis getting 2 carries for 18 yards. That puts the Jets at over 4.5 yards per carry for the day. What I saw was a front 7 that none of them played well. Maybe Highsmith gets a little bit of a pass because he got the 1 negative play, the sack. But I didn't see TJ Watt show up in that game to stop anybody. I didn't see Cam Hayward stopping anybody. I saw Keanu Benton getting blown off the ball like he did all of last year. I saw all of the Olawakis, Loudermilks, Wyatt Blacks who were trying to replace Derek Harmon look terrible. I saw 2 middle linebackers who didn't look like they wanted to tackle in Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. I saw safeties stepping up and doing well in the run game, but that's 8 yards down the field. Man, tell me this doesn't look like last year, and tell me my prediction of a safety lead in this team in tackles, much like Minkah has the last 3 years, doesn't look like it's going to come to fruition after the way they started.
We'll have to see, Donkey. It's not going to definitely come with the personnel that we expected. Jabril Peppers as an addition. Hopefully the Elliott injury isn't too extended, but what do you think about that?
So I just replaced the only guy on that safety crew that generated any turnovers over the last 3 years in Deshaun Elliott with another safety who's borderline a linebacker. Because the difference between Chuck Clark and Jabril Peppers is Jabril Peppers was drafted in the 1st round and Chuck Clark in the 4th. That's the only difference between those 2 guys. Juan Thornhill, same type of make and model. These are linebackers playing safety because they're too small and too athletic to be a middle linebacker. Not a bad pickup. At this point, losing your best safety and being able to get a starter level guy, which Jabril Peppers is, let's be honest. Jabril Peppers is a starting level safety in the NFL, but he's not a difference maker, man. And Elliott last year looked like maybe he could be a difference maker. That's a big hit to take. I'm going to be honest. That is a huge hit to take, especially when you pair that with losing Joey Porter Jr., which means Jalen Ramsey now has to play corner. That talk of maybe him playing a little hybrid safety, his ball skills are now going to have to be put at cornerback without a doubt, and maybe stay there the whole time, because the biggest guy I didn't get to knocking on yet, Darius Big Play Slay, looks like he's absolutely washed and absolutely looks like that was a Pat Pete pickup. And you know what that means.
I do. I saw what you saw, Donkey. And unfortunately, during game 1, it looked like that.
Now, all news isn't bad, Gingy. We're here. We're talking this. There are still high-level players on this defense. I mean, we're going to get Herbig back to put in the pass rusher rotation, which maybe keeps everybody a little fresher. Alex Highsmith got a sack last week, which is a huge thing to see going forward and a positive outlook for him. And, of course, we don't expect TJ Watt to get shut out the way he got shut out against the Jets. I understand you say, well, he was there, he was pushing this, he was doing that. But, man, it comes down to it, and we talked about it with TJ Watt in the playoffs and TJ Watt in December. Being there doesn't matter. You have to make the plays when available. We need to see TJ become that playmaker in the big moments. That's the step of his career he needs to make to transform himself. We need to see Cam Hayward, who begged to have incentives added to his contract, step up. We need to see Keanu Benton look like the rookie version and not the year 2 version. Maybe Derek Harmon comes back and shows something good. And maybe one of these depth guys, the Okolaways, the Wyatt Blacks, the Loudermilks, the Logan Lees, one of them will need to step up. The Steelers need to get better on that. I'm going to give them a break. Like I said, it's week 1. We're not going to hate too much. We're going to talk about it. We're going to let it go. We're not going to cast the changes need to be made yet. But the concerns need to be raised. And these are the things that if you want to be, the type of fan that sees what makes the game, what wins the game, what loses the game, watch the trenches, man. We got to start winning that battle on the offensive and defensive line, and you're going to see us not have to pull our hair out in a game against the Jets. You're going to see us start to really solidify and maybe become a unit that can scare people, Gingy. The potential's still there, but after week 1, it really needs to take a step forward.
For me, summing it up, Donkey, 1-0 is better than 0-1.
Hell yeah, I'd rather look sloppy as hell and have a win than be the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Right? Where you look dominant, except you forgot to play the fourth quarter.
1-0. It's all right with me.
I agree. That's where we are. That's why I said they're going to get a lot of passes on a lot of these things. This is the result that was to be expected. I think it's fair to say this is the result that was to be expected, right?
Really? The final score of that game?
No.
In
Result.
The 60s?
Not the tempo. The result, which is a win. And a close win. By the way, anyone who thought it was going to be a blowout, silly. I thought it was going to be a 17-15 win, but the result is exactly what I thought, a 2-point win. That's Steeler football in a nutshell, Gingy.
It is. It is, Donkey. I agree.
Now, the 30 points is a little weird, but the final result, which was a 2-point win, that's exactly what I expected. 30 points on offense, not so much. And watching the highest paid with the best defensive coach in football give up 30 points. That's the... I don't know if that sound actually came across, but I kind of make some like squid sound there. Because that's how I felt, man. For
me, it's just giving up the massive amount on the ground. It just can't happen again.
You say that, but
yeah,
they didn't do anything to fix it. That's what scares me is they didn't do. Yes, I understand we drafted Derek Harmon, but he's just a 1-for-1 replacement for what the heck was his name, man? The guy we let go that went to the Bills and then got suspended for using steroids. Why can't I think of his name? Ogunjobi. He's just the 1-for-1 replacement for Ogunjobi. And without him, and I mean, there's no depth added outside of that. It's just, Gingy. That's all I have to say.
1-0.
Yeah, baby. I'd rather be 1-0 with my 1-0 with my concerns still valid than 0-1 with my concerns being still valid, right?
Moving to next Sunday.
On the way to number 7. Next Sunday, you want to talk about maybe this for game 1, Aaron Rodgers' revenge, is game 2, DK Metcalf's revenge. Home opener, Seattle Seahawks coming into town. Seahawks did not look very good in week 1. Sam Darnold kind of looked like old Sam Darnold, like not non-Viking Sam Darnold, I guess is the way to put it.
Ruh-roh.
I mean, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't good. Maybe the scary part is they do have a pretty good two-headed running back monster back there, but their offensive line looks terrible in Seattle, at least in week 1. But, I mean, Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III are both pretty solid running back, Gingy, when we get to talk about what Seattle brings out there. A wide receiving crew that isn't anything to sleep on. You talk about Jackson Smith and Jigba out there, first-round pick, very athletic dude, type of guy who can blow off the top of defense. Very, very talented wide receiver there. I believe they also traded for Cooper Kupp, so Cooper Kupp's there as well. You're looking at a pretty decent stable of wide receivers. Jake Bobo is the type of guy who is good for 3 or 4 big plays a year. Let's make sure they don't happen against the Steelers. Not much to know about Troy Horton or Drake Young. Don't know much there, but the tight ends, Elijah Arroyo, rookie draft pick, decent looking guy from the beginning from what I can see. AJ Barner, guy you'll see in there. But again, the offensive line is where you're going to attack these Seahawks. They don't really have a lot going on there, so time for the front 7 to step back up and have a game when you look against the Steelers going against that Seattle weaker offensive line, good playmakers on the outside. Little nervous to not have Joey Porter Jr. in this game, as I think that might mean a lot of Darius Slay in situations I don't like. Brandon Echols I'd prefer to see in there a little bit. I guess you're going to see some James Pierre as a gunner because he got added to the active roster too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so maybe some James Pierre shown out there. Lack of a big play safety maybe hurts the Steelers in this one, or maybe the guys who are good for an interception a year, Peppers, Thornhill, Chuck Clark, maybe one of them comes up and gets an interception against Sam Darnold, who didn't look his best, and we know when he faces pressure, he tends to struggle a little bit. It seems like the type of game to get the Steelers defense back on track, Gingy, right?
That's what I would like to see. Pressure on the quarterback. Pressure up the middle. Don't allow them to establish a run game. Let's get some time of possession. Let's establish our own run game. Talked about this all offseason, Donkey. This is the recipe.
It is. I don't disagree with you. It certainly is the recipe. And when you look at it last week, Charbonnet had 12 carries for about 4 a carry, but Kenneth Walker averaged 2 yards a carry. The Seahawks really struggled getting the running game going, much like the Steelers did. This is the type of game where maybe earlier downs we see bigger guys in there. Maybe we play Waya Black along with the other two out there. Maybe we see, and I know Mike Tomlin said he doesn't want to move Keanu Benton to the outside yet, but I'm just saying, man, put Wyatt Black in the middle. He's a bigger guy. Let Benton play on that left side as a bigger guy. Let's at least stop the run early and make Sam Darnold beat us. I know the weapons out there in Kupp and Smith and Jigba are good, but let's force Sam Darnold, who's been turnover prone his whole career, to have to make some high leverage throws to get this game going. Let's help out the front 7. Let's make it as big and beefy as we can. Let's let our edge rushers do what they do on passing downs. And let's try to force some, Gingy, dare I say, splash? Maybe a little defensive splash this week is something we can see. I left him speechless again. I'm on a roll today.
That's what we want to do, Donkey. Force some splash. Let's get a turnover on defense. Let's see some action around the ball. Let's see some ball hawking. None of these gouging runs, 8 yards, 7 yards, all game long. No thank you. Pass on that, Donkey.
For sure. And Gingy, we cannot let Seattle get the run game going. Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, they need to be absolutely shut down this week, I think is fair to say. And I don't think it's an over expectation for that to be what is done this week. But if the run game gets going and they're able to make us, push up forward, big plays could be potential for Seattle. Not what I want to see, but we talked about what we want to see happen. The negative is if the Steelers struggle with run defense again, these Seahawks are a lot better equipped to expose a team that can't stop the run due to being able to run the ball effectively and have weapons on the outside than the Jets were. But maybe the lack of mobile quarterbacks, an evening factor there. But the Steelers can't stop the run. It might be a really long day at Acrisure.
Let's hope we don't see that donkey. Big splash, turnover, time of possession, wear him down.
That's what I would love to see as well. Let's get to what should we expect from the Seahawks defensively. Their front is made up of, there's some guys out there with some names you might have heard if you've been around football for a long time. I mean, Leonard Williams at one point was one of the premier defensive interior linemen out there. DeMarcus Lawrence, that's a guy who's gotten a lot of sacks in his name. Byron Murphy plays pretty strong up there as a guy. Jarran Reed, a good run stuffing type of player out there going around. Then you get to their linebacking crew, and I mean Mafe and Woso. O'Toole comes in more as a special team type of guy. There's some talent in there. There's no doubt about it. Their front seven has the ability to get after you, to stop the run, to cause a little bit of sacks. They haven't been the best at it, but they have a defense. Their coach was the former defensive coordinator from Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken, right? So they have a guy who knows how to get after the quarterback. Baltimore, he went there, had great times with it, understood how to get the pressures. So this is a defense that could bring some pressure. The way the offense has struggled might be a cause of concern. Gingy, do you see Seattle's front seven being big time problem for the Steelers or something the Steelers will be able to handle and get a running game going this week? We lost Gingy because he had to hide in his closet due to some lightning strikes. So
Nah, my bad, donkey. We're looking at offensive line play needed to step up, right? We're looking at, I would like to see Aaron Rodgers get into more of a rhythm on that offense. Big splash plays on defense are all right, but I'd like to see more consistent rhythm on offense. String a few downs together. Boswell clearly putting points on the board. Be able to play a little bit longer game. Play more to the Steelers' rhythm, right? But I think at the same time, we're going to be seeing DK Metcalf revenge game, donkey. Is this going to be a showstopper?
Emma one of their safeties, is going to be out. Devin Witherspoon, one of their better cover corners, is doubtful to play in the game. But they still have guys like Rick Woolen, who's been out there, has done some good things. Shaquille Griffin, hasn't been good for the last couple of years, but he's a name that is shut down in the past. Julian Love is one of the borderline best safeties in football right now, the way he's played the last couple of years. They got one of my favorite names out there, a guy I wish the Steelers would have taken, a rookie from Kansas, Kobe Bryant. Or no, that's the one from Cincinnati. Wrong Kobe Bryant. That's the 4-year vet from Cincinnati, Kobe Bryant. It's a secondary that has a lot of talent in Seattle. There was a couple years ago with these guys, Tyreek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, the Julian Love, that they were calling them the Legion of Boom version 2, like 2.0. That's how much they viewed these guys. Now, they haven't quite lived up to that high standard, right? But these are guys that can go out and play. I really do think, though, DK with a chip on his shoulder is something you like. I do see some ability to expose these guys. They do give up big plays more so than the original Legion of Boom. But let's be honest here. It is a unit that's pretty solid. Probably going to need some step up. I really think this is a game where maybe the step up needs to come from the tight ends. Who knows? but someone needs to step up outside of DK to help him out. Last week it was Calvin Austin. Maybe this week it'll be Calvin Austin again, or maybe Roman Wilson, who we were promised was going to be big time, will get more than 10 snaps, Gingy. Was that a surprise to you seeing so little of Roman Wilson? I know we didn't touch on that earlier, so let's touch on that now.
I think that they're just trying to work him into the packages, right? Specialized Arthur Smith offense. I will say this, Aaron Rodgers is still doing a good job at distributing the ball, have a lot of weapons available, right? Only seeing Roman Wilson on that many plays. Did we feel super undermanned when we're looking at wide receiver?
I would like to see more 3 wide receivers than Jonnu Smith packages, personally. I'd like to see a more modernized offense, because we're here in... This is the thing that kills me, Gingy. How the hell are we in run-heavy personnel all the time when we can't run the goddamn football? Like, that kills me. That still kills me to this day, as being in run-heavy personnel and not being able to run the football. That's just... Yeah,
Gotta be able to run the football.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. We get to the special teams type of thing, Gingy, and you're looking at, a kicker who's been around in quite a while, Jason Myers, pretty solid. Boswell, clearly an advantage, without a doubt, right? But I'm going to tell you where we don't have an advantage.
Massive advantage, clutch, 50 plus, 60 plus.
Without a doubt. But, dude, Michael Dixon's a dude who's now like 2 years running, averaging 50 yards a boot. That kid can frickin' spank a football as a punter. So maybe we call special teams a draw here. Both teams have really good special teams, is a fair way to put it. Both teams have the ability to get splash plays off their special teams. I think in terms of the kicking side of the ball, Seattle's a little better on the non-field goal side of the kicking side of the ball, and returning wise, I think the Seahawks are a little better on the return side, but that all gets neutralized by Boswell being Boswell, right?
Boswell being Boswell, just coming in clutch when you need it.
All right, Gingy. It was a fun segment to end last year, so we're going to end this year, or do the same thing this year. We're going to do some cash or trash. I'm just going to give you 3 offense, 3 defense. Laskers isn't here, so we're going to do 3 quick ones, both sides of the ball. Do you want to start on offense or defense first? And that's when the Steelers are on offense and on defense.
Offense, let's go.
Offense. Aaron Rodgers once again will have 3+ touchdowns and no turnovers. Cash or trash, Gingy?
Trash. 3+. Yeah. Maybe 1 interception.
I like the original response. I like the original response. Yeah.
I wanted to take it until I heard the no turnover part.
Part 2. DK Metcalf goes over 100 yards and a touchy against his old team. Cash it or trash it?
Cash that in for me.
Sounds good. And the last one on the offense, the running game for the Steelers gets established this week with over 4 yards a carry and a touchdown. Cash or trash?
Cash that in for me, too.
All right,
Let's go, Jaylen Warren.
Let's roll it over to the defensive side. Let's start again with the running game. The Steelers will hold the Seattle Seahawks to under 4 yards a carry and under 2 rushing touchdowns. Cash or trash?
You know what? This is one of them things, Donkey, where I'm going to have to trash it till I see it.
Fair enough. Gingy, the Renegade is going to show its face, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to not just once, but twice force a turnover of the Seattle Seahawks. Cash or trash?
Ooh, cash that in for me. Splash. I like
it. Gotta love the splash.
I'm going to call for that, Donkey. Cash it in.
Of course. And number 3, Gingy, it has felt like a long frickin' time of football since we've seen TJ Watt in the sack category. But I don't want to make this an easy one for you. So we're going to put the number at 1.5 sacks. Does TJ Watt get more than 1.5 sacks?
Cash it in.
Let's go. I like it.
More than 1.5 sacks. Absolutely.
I like it. Gingy, before we get into predictions for the games this week, I want you to give me your verdict on how you see this football game going.
I think that the Steelers' defense is going to get a better lid on it. I think they're facing a less formidable opponent on offense. Listen, because, right, the Jets aren't a spectacular, but Justin Fields, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson are still three guys who are going to put up some numbers on you, I think. They're going to do that to a few teams this season. Maybe not consistently enough. Maybe that's not enough to, make them an elite contender, but it is enough to... I think the Steelers are going to get more of a lid on Seattle this week. I still think that the offense is going to be clicking. We're going to see more of a consistently played football game, but time of possession, total yards, things like that, rushing yards, things that were a little bit lacking last week are going to improve.
That's what I like to hear. That's the way I like to see this narrative going. Gingy, let's start with you on the picks. Of course, we got the AFC North games to cover. We got the undefeated Jaguars going to the undefeated Bengals. Talk about squeaking one out last week. How you feeling, Cincinnati? Gingy, who'd you like in this one? It's at
give me the
Cincinnati, if that matters.
You like the Bengals? It does matter, and give me the Bengals.
All right. I feel you. We're going to just three-way this because me and Laskers also are on the Bengals bandwagon here. And then we have, it's Cleveland going to Baltimore, right? Yes, the Cleveland Browns going to the Baltimore Ravens. Gingy, heartbreak hotel for both of the former Stain franchises here. Which one gets it going right this week?
Give me Baltimore.
Yeah, I can't say anything different. So let's stay there. Then we have the big game, the Steelers versus the Seahawks, and we're gonna start with Lasker's pick because Laskers thinks the offense is coming out absolutely gunning. He says 38-31 Steelers with DK Metcalf coming out with 2 touchdowns against the Seahawks as the X factor. Gingy, do you like the way Laskers is thinking?
I don't think we're going to get to 38, but let me see another offensive explosion of 30 or more. 31-23, Pittsburgh coming out on top. X Factor, definitely DK Metcalf against his old team. Revenge is in the air.
I love the way you guys are just absolutely rolling with this offensive snowball avalanche.
Boom.
But I'm not sure I'm digging the way y'all are saying our defense is going to get shredded again. I'm not sure I'm down with that part of it. I think we're a little more tame. I think the offense still shows out pretty good. I'm feeling 24-16 Pittsburgh Steelers, and I really, really, really think the X factor this week is going to be Peyton Wilson. I don't know why. He's been getting a lot of hate in the media, and I do think he's an undersized backer. But I think he comes out, and I think the key turnover is going to be Peyton Wilson on an A-gap blitz, batting a ball right to himself. I don't know why. I feel like we need a middle linebacker to be a difference maker on this football team because to me, Pittsburgh Steelers need to have great linebacker play, right? I think that's fair to say.
Let's go.
Now, Gingy, we had a win. It was real football. That means you have a shout out, right?
Absolutely, Donkey. In fact, for a week 1 win, I'll give you 2.
Ew!
First shout out going to all the Steelers newcomers who showed up and showed out. Aaron Rodgers, game-changing plays. DK Metcalf, big yards after catch, very exciting. Jalen Ramsey, playing physical, big impact on the last play of the game. Showing out to guys coming in and doing things for the Steelers, getting dubs. Shout out number 2, of course, Donkey. Chris Boswell. Holy smokes. A 50-yarder. 50 plus. What was it, 56?
When you said you had
Ice in
two
his
shout
veins.
outs, you just meant you were shouting out Boswell for Laskers, right?
Absolutely.
You know he would have.
I know he would have. Laskers in spirit, Boswell. And then with the game on the line, minute left, career long, 60-yarder. Donkey, he blasted that football. That was going. That makes it at 65.
Do you
I'm telling
remember?
you right now.
Not as good as that freaking Jaguars kid in the preseason, but that ball was spanked. Do you remember Tomlin's quote about Boswell, man? Because I don't want to misquote it, but it was great.
Pretty sure she says serial killer.
Serial killer has ice water in his veins. Yeah, I think it was serial killer. I didn't want to misquote it though, but
I think that's what he said.
That was just great.
An excellent asset. Shout out Chris Boswell. Holy smokes, what a game. What was that? 7 lead changes, Donkey?
Dude, it was ridiculous. I didn't actually watch the whole game. I only watched the highlights before, but I watched the whole game today because I was on the out of town kick, chilling in the zoo, seeing some sweet ass animals, having a good old time while the Steelers were beating the Jets. Luckily, Gingy, I didn't have to pull my hair out or have a heart attack because I only saw the score, so no panic.
I can't tell you that the sentiment was the same, Donkey, in my house. I had that towel waving though.
That's good.
Towel was waving.
I was all prepped for everything, but some fun stuff had to happen. My shout out for the week has to go, dude. Who on their bingo card had Ben Skronik for a touchdown and a fumble recovery? My goodness gracious, what bottom of the roster guy having a game like that is the reason he gets to stay the bottom of the roster guy for years, right? Like that type of performance from a special teams ace type of guy is what makes you happy for him, man. Those are big moments, and he came up and didn't mess up either of his big opportunities. Love to see it. That's what you need. You need guys like that. You need guys like Miles Killebrew who aren't going to go out there and make the glamour, but are going to, contribute in their own way. And seeing an offensive touchdown out of Ben Skronik, Gingy, that got me hyped when I saw that he caught a touchdown on my little stat line when it beeped on my phone going, Steelers touchdown. I was like, oh, yeah. It said Ben Skronik. I'm like, hell yeah. Got me happy. Not going to lie.
I had a little feeling that a guy like Aaron Rodgers was going to be able to get guys involved.
Yeah. Good. Great start to him. I want to make sure we get a shout out to all the people who deserve it. But Gingy, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Love real football. Holy smokes, Donkey. Football season is back. Crazy games all around the NFL.
Most important game of the weekend, though. Anybody who doesn't know, dude, it's backyard brawl time. Let's go Pitt. That's all I gotta say. And I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking Donkey. That's Viking _Donkey at Twitch and Twitter. Ginger's got me all sorts of befuddled. But this is your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger, where you get this awesome content. Gingy's here, bringing the inside. The hype is real. The season is real. The games matter. Gingy, let them know.
The hype is real, Donkey. Football is back, 1-0. Coming back with the Seahawks. Holy smokes, Steelers fans, wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.